This is a probable cause hearing, and the purpose is to determine whether, if the facts presented in the complaint are presumed to be true, does the conduct described in the complaint, is that conduct subject to discipline under Senate rules?
All senators, Democrats and Republicans, take ethics very seriously, and we all strive to follow the rules and honor this great institution we are privileged to serve, the Minnesota Senate. No one wants to bring the body into disrepute or damage the trust we have with the people of Minnesota. And all that is to say that we don't take this lightly. Ethics in the Minnesota Senate is a process, and the filing of a complaint is just the first step, as Madam Chair has alluded to. We brought this ethics complaint to you, committee, against Senator Jeff Hayden, because we believe that if our complaint has merit, it represents a serious violation of our rules, and we believe there is enough evidence to warrant a further investigation. So specifically, we're asking the Senate Subcommittee to look into two issues. The first is whether Senator Hayden used his influence as a powerful member of the Senate to force, some have said to bully, the Minneapolis School District into awarding a grant to an organization he favors, the Community Standards Initiative. And I think you do have this document from the Star and Tribune. During the 2013 session, Senator Hayden authored a bill appropriating $350,000 for a grant to the Minneapolis School District for a community engagement and empowerment project with the organization Community Standards Initiative, CSI, to reduce the achievement gap. And I believe you have in your packet a copy of that legislation. Ultimately, the legislature decided against funding this grant separately, and that is where it should have ended. But according to the Star Tribune, one source speaking for the Minneapolis School Board stated Senators Hayden and Champion threatened the school board members to award the grant or risk losing their state funding. The Minneapolis School Board spokesman confirmed that legislators had urged the support of CSI. Superintendent Bernadette Johnson also alluded to the influence of the senators in her statement, saying, quote, several board members, elected officials, and community members expressed support of this contract, which further influenced moving forward. And you have a document, I think, that was distributed today that is a copy of Superintendent Bernadette's statement. Senator Hayden is the Deputy Majority Leader in the Senate. He has the power to influence millions of dollars in funding for the Minneapolis School District. I can only imagine how hard it would have been for those board members to balance pleasing him by awarding the grant to CSI or risk offending him and losing his powerful advocacy at the Capitol. If what these board members are saying is true, then Senator Hayden is guilty of violating our rules and bringing disrepute to the Senate.
The information you're relying on for the idea that there was some undue influence, to use that term, is the Star Tribune article. Is that correct, Senator?
Madam
Chair and Mr. Nolan, that certainly was the initial impetus to our complaint. I actually was called by a reporter to comment on that. I wasn't even aware of it when it was first published. I was on vacation. So that was the initial, I think, notice. But there have been additional comments made by members of the public that are asking that same kind of question and alleging the same kinds of things that our complaint alleges.
Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Allen.
Other than asking questions and the Star Tribune article, do you have any answers to those questions?
And the information that we have, as I've indicated before, is public information that, again, if true, raises serious questions about our ethics. The purpose of this hearing is to decide, again, in your words, Madam Chair, that if the allegations are true, does it rise to a standard that needs to be investigated? So to establish the factual case of whether or not there was such a threat or such behavior, I think that would be in the cause of an investigation that this committee may choose to do. But for now, I am relying on the publicly reported activities of Senator Hayden and members of the Minneapolis School Board and others.
Questioning another senator's ethics should not be taken lightly as a matter of honor and as a matter of ethics in and of self. It should only be done after investigating the facts and having first-hand knowledge adequate to show probable cause. I'll start with a conflict of interest, and then I'll get to the other aspect, the second aspect of the complaint. The essence of the conflict of interest ethical complaint for CSI is that somehow there has been some money